G'day everyone, thanks for watching the video if you are. This is my M109R 2007 model. It's the first model that they released. Making this video in response to the lack of videos for help online. I went on YouTube and many other sites and couldn't really find much, but I'm not that computer literate anyway. Yeah, so what I'm doing today is I'm replacing my rear brake disc and brake pads. Alright, here's my parts, this is most of the tools. Now what I've done, as you see, I've got the floor jack underneath, which I only just purchased recently off eBay, and it works like a dream. Recommend everyone to get one. I've already actually taken it off to figure out how it worked, and it was pretty simple. So I've just very mockily put it back together. Not all parts are obviously back in there. Got the bush right here, which comes out of the exhaust side, which just to show you, basically it sits in there. So oops, it goes that way. It sits in there, in that section there. Just put that back. Right, pretty standard. All I did was a 32mm spanner and took that off. Obviously I did put a rag over my exhaust because I thought every time I pull that spanner off I'm going to smack my exhaust, and luckily I did, because pretty much every time I took it off to get another bite I hit my exhaust. Yeah, so I just took that nut off the axle. It was a little bit tentative to slide out, had to give it a bit of a love tap. Which by doing that, just got a screwdriver and fit it in between my pipes, just here, through there, into the axle, tap 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 with a hammer until it came out. I only took the axle out as far as the brake caliper holder here, and then I undid this here with a, just showing you my tools so you know what I used. This is a 10mm Allen key, and yeah, just straight into there, unbolted that. That again came out. The brake pads were obviously very hard up against my disc. As you can see, my pads are, well, they're non-existent. I have no pads, so I've very stupidly gone way too far. Till one day I went to brake and I heard a bit of a really weird sound. I knew I was metal on metal, so that was today. So I stopped it. You can't say that I'm not getting my value for money there. But I already had planned on getting a new brake disc, as I have. It's hard to tell because this is pinching it, but there is actually a bit of movement on that disc. And I took it to a mechanic and he said there's too much. So I'm replacing it. So I already knew I was going to replace it anyway, that's why I let it run right down. Yeah, so this axle comes out, that comes out, I've got a screwdriver up in there, push the calipers here, your cylinders, push them all the way back in with a screwdriver. It took a bit of persuading, but it was pretty easy. And basically that just pulled straight off, the whole thing. I pulled it off, put a rag here, laid over the top, which I'm going to show you all anyway, just thought I'd quickly run through. And then the tyre came out. Alright. What I did just then was just take the axle out and put a cover back on my exhaust so I don't get any grease on it and don't hit it and damage it. This was the bolt that took out earlier, up here, up the front here. Just took that out. Pretty much that whole caliper housing. I've taken nothing else out except disconnect this out of this little clip here. And oh yeah, I separated the brake disc as well. Sorry about the camera angle. It's the first time using this damn thing. Anyway, yeah, so it literally just slide it a little bit forward, jiggle it around, just comes straight off. Just take note of your rubber hose here for your brake line. If it's like, this is an older model, so this should kind of be the worst you should see anything. But if you shaving there, if you have like crack lines or anything like that, don't do what I'm about to do, because you'll just completely ruin your line and you'll have to buy a new one anyway. So, but I'm just going to hang one over my exhaust for now. There's not much weight on it. This isn't actually a metal line, not a rubber line, so it can hold a little bit of weight. But yeah, and as you can see, that's where the bush came out of, just out of there. That dropped out, and then I took that out. It was a bit of messing around to get that out, but once that came out, everything really literally just fell out. On this side, don't be afraid with your axle. This was hard up in there into the uni joint, and literally once I took that bush out, I just pushed it across. I was really concerned that there was going to be a whole bunch of parts in there, but I thought I'd take the risk, and it paid off. It literally just popped off and just flopped onto the ground. As you can see, it's not going to fit out anywhere. So I'll just disconnect this camera. What I did last time, this is why I recommend the foot jack, was just pumped it up nice and steady, making sure the other side doesn't get caught, which it looks like it just did. Slowly, that's looking alright. Basically I just keep jacking it up until I can roll that straight out, and do what you got to do. Put it back. Oh, by the way, it's in neutral. I've got my front brake on hard. I put my key in and lock the steering wheel so it can't steer, so there's no way that front tyre can move forward or back. I don't have it chocked, but I don't think it's going to move too much on this anyway, but just for precaution, because I don't have any tie down straps to tie this down to the actual jack, which does have tie down points. Yeah, so that's it. I should pretty much be able to get this out now. With a bit of finesse, as you can see. I don't know if you can see down there, but the tyre is actually wider than your swing arm. You can get it out, because I've had it out before. It basically just got to nice and slowly turn to the side, and it just, there you go. It's mine right there. ME 880 Marathon. 260 by 40.